Hey everyone, welcome to another character guide, this time featuring the Princess of Mondstadt. Or is she really the Princess of Mondstadt? But yeah, we're gonna talk about the princess in something Fischl. This is Godric and welcome to the video. This guide of course is manifested by Fischl being handed out for free in the current event Summer Fantasia. Of course, we're gonna talk about why you should be using Fischl if you're looking for other characters to use, and because, at least for me, Fischl is an underrated character, and I cannot stress that enough because her kit is DPS focused and you can turn her into an on-field DPS or off-field DPS, and she can serve as a great energy battery because of her skill's consistent attacks. Personally, her auto-attacking is also useful, although being physical and not having elemental reactions. But Oz's consistent electro attacks definitely make up for it. Say what you want, but yeah, Fischl does work as a 4-star Yai Miko with respect to Oz acting as a turret. In addition, although it's a complaint that I generally see for bow characters, is that some players are not using bow characters because they have a hard time aiming. But I don't know, you don't really need to aim most of the time with Fischl, especially if auto-attacking. More so if and when you use, in this case, Fischl as an off-field DPS. Normal attacks, charged and plunging are standard bow attacks, so you already know that. Her skill and burst are somehow similar in nature. Her skill, Night Rider, drops her bird companion, Oz. You can hold the skill to control where you want Oz to land, of course at a fixed distance. Oz auto-attacks a small AoE and can be quote-unquote re-summoned if his duration is still up. You'll find yourself doing this if the mobs keep moving and getting out of his range. Now her burst, Midnight Phantasmagoria, is sort of an extension of her skill duration. When you activate it, you swap into Oz and you can move around, but it's only for a short duration. When you activate it, you swap into Oz and you move around. This can be cancelled if you switch to a different character. It's often done because the animation takes a while and is somehow considered a DPS loss. But if there are lots of mobs around you, since activating the burst also strikes them, you can approach them so they can be hit. I mentioned that it's an extension of her skill since it resets Oz's cooldown. Now, talent priority, so you go high with her skill for both on-field and off-field DPS, and then her burst. Up her normal attacks if you prefer using her as your on-field DPS. For her passives, shorter expedition time, and Stellar Predator, something that I personally don't use and don't bother to use. I mean, I've always been intrigued by it, but you just forget about it, especially since the damage it procs isn't really that high nor that impressive. So, 4th Ascension passive just provides a bonus damage every time you proc electro-related reactions. So of course, you have Electro Charge, Superconduct, among others. For Fischl's weapons, Fischl can be built in general as you would a normal DPS. Her weapons can vary of course if you want to build her as an on-field or off-field DPS, as well as on the team that you put her on. For auto-attacking DPS Fischl, you're good to go with physical damage substat weapons. For our F2P goats, like the Compound Bow for normal attack focused build, or even the Prototype Crescent for weaving in charge attacks every now and then. So you also have Blackcliff. It's a good weapon that you can easily build around because of its crit stats. Rust gives significant attack boost, especially at R5, given that you only do auto attacks. Signature weapon, Ish, is the Mitternatch Waltz, tailored for Fischl as you can see the effect. It buffs her and Oz, although of course Fischl is given more by the physical damage substat. This is from the gacha and you may have difficulty getting it. Even look at mine, it's only R1. So yeah, generally R1 is okay, but if you have more versatile weapons, go for them instead. Amos, of course, because it's a 5-star weapon. It can even be incorporated with your charge shots and add bonus on the Oz passive. Viridescent, crit rate weapon. This is good for on-field DPS Fischl because you can clump them together, right? And then you can use your skill or burst for that AoE damage. Then our monster bows, Thundering Pulse, Polar Star, and Skyward Harp if you're not using them on your other characters. As you know, these are very valuable weapons for, their reputation precedes them. So use one if you have one, or a spare one. Now for off-field DPS Fischl, of course, you'll be capitalizing on increasing your skill or burst as compared to your normal attacks. With that, the Viridescent Hunt can still be used for its crit stats. You can still do the same technique of attacking with a Fischl and, try to proc the passive, and then just release Oz and swap to your main character. We also have the Windbloom Ode, Stringless, and Elegy. However, this works best when you have her in Elemental Reaction-rich team comps, obviously because of its EM substat and the Elegy for its support capabilities. Now, Alley Hunter is a very good weapon for Fischl. We could call it her best 4-star weapon, as similar to the Mitternotch Waltz. It fits her off-field DPS kit so well, so if you have that, you can use that on her. For 5 stars, you can still use Amos, Thundering Pulse, and even the new Aqua Simulacra, of course, for their high attack and significant substats. Finally, the Polar Star has to take the cake because, it's got this insane crit rate and passive that's well suited for Fischl. So, if you don't have or you're not using your, example, Child or other, 5-star characters, then you can use it on Fischl. Another reason why for me Fischl is worth building is that she's really flexible, although this flexibility merits a bump in either on-field or off-field directions. We talked about how she can be on or off-field, now let's talk at her potential artifact builds. For on-field DPS, you want physical damage build path, of course, capitalizing on attack and crits still, but on Fischl herself and not on Oz. So you want to get the 4-piece Pale Flame, you'll surely get its uptime to 100% because of Oz. That, or a 2-piece Pale Flame and 2-piece Bloodstained for double physical damage bonus, or 2-piece of either physical damage plus another 2-piece attack percent sets. Of course, your sands would be attack percent, physical damage goblet, and crit circlet. And for an off-field Fischl, you get more, of course, from buffing Oz, quote-unquote, so that's by leaning more on electro damage bonus. You can build Fischl with 4-piece Tenacity. Like I said, with Oz, you'll have almost 100% uptime, although it would sacrifice a little damage because of the 2-piece set effect, but, this gives more focus on whoever your main DPS is, so it's still a win. And then, of course, a 2-piece Thundering Fury plus 2-piece attack percent. This actually is something I'd like to mention to be a generalist set. Now, for on-field or off-field DPS Fischl builds, I personally use this because I don't like swapping artifacts, I just get easily confused and, well, mostly lazy that I leave whatever they're using. Anyway, it's gonna be a pain when we get more characters, and the game's still not implementing a template or whatever. Anyway, again, this combination as well as 4-piece Thunder Soother can be viable for either on-field or off-field builds. Your Oz will be there applying electro status to the mobs. So, yeah, there you have it. For either 2-piece, or 4-piece Thunder Soother, it would go down to what goblet you use. For example, for on-field, of course, you're gonna use physical damage bonus, and for an off-field, you prioritize the use of electro damage bonus. And just to repeat it, your stat priority is crits, attack percent, EM if on electro charge team comps. And if you don't or can't farm Thundering Fury or Thunder Soother pieces, you can make do with 2-piece attack percent sets as well. And honestly, that's just how straightforward and flexible Fischl is with how you can build her. So let's go to Fischl's Constellations. By now, she's been given for free in 2 separate events and has been in event banners multiple times. So I'm guessing most of you have at least C1, if not C3 or maybe C6, most of you guys. Yeah, so each one makes Fischl more efficient as a DPS. For C1, you'll see this orb-looking thing floating around Fischl when she does her normal attacks. This deals damage, although 22% isn't that crazy of a number. It's still a good bonus if you're having difficulty with keeping Oz's uptime. Naturally, since the one quote-unquote attacking is Oz, so when you summon Oz, that won't be present anymore. And then C2 simply affects or rather enhances her skill, additional damage and AoE. C3 and C5, of course, additional levels to her skill and burst. So for C4, this makes Fischl's burst even more quote-unquote, again, significant as you deal more damage with it, and then it even provides emergency healing for Fischl. Now for C6, this gives Oz more uptime, 2 seconds, and it does the C1 effect even if you're not attacking with Fischl. So naturally, Fischl gains more perks, more damage as she gets more cons, or what I'm trying to say is she's a standard 4-star. She can be an off-banner drop. She can be bought from the shop, so though getting her constellations isn't a must, they can be acquired quite easily if you want to. So now, we don't want to oversell Fischl as she also has some cons. This time, not the good cons, not constellations, but the bad cons. The problem with Fischl is that you need to choose a build wisely or sort of commit to it. Her playstyle and being optimal would depend on it, of course, and just as we discussed on her artifacts. Personally, her burst is weird and okay, probably not a con in itself, but it's a case-to-case basis. Sometimes her burst is really useful, sometimes it just messes up your positioning. Anyway, it can be cancelled by switching to another character, so yeah. And for Oz to work best, you need proper positioning as well. Her initial dropping of Oz gives more damage, of course, and missing the activation on the right time, on the right place, of course, is a DPS loss. As for team comps, for main DPS, she's best paired with attack buffers like Bennett, Sarah, or Thrilling Tales holder, either or both. Running her with a 4-piece Viridescent holder won't benefit her physical damage, so be mindful of that. I would recommend a double Electro, double Cryo, since they would proc Superconduct. This of course reduces the physical damage of mobs, in turn giving Fischl more damage. So we have Fischl, Sarah, Diona, Kaya or Zarya. Of course, Diona is your shielder and healer, with both Sarah and either Kaya or Zarya as your burst supports. Sarah can be replaced by Beidou, Yaemiko, or a burst support Raiden, and now even Cookie for her healing. You can also do a Fischl, Bennett, Yunjin, and Flex, either Zhongli for Geo Resonance or Coma or Zhenyan for Pyro Resonance. The three of them are shielders, obviously, so the Pyro Resonance would give you an extra attack percent. This team comp revolves around Fischl's normal attacks. There's also an Electro Charge team comp, which may fall between an on-field or off-field Fischl, because of course you'll also need Oz's participation. So instead of the double Electro, double Cryo, you use double Electro with Hydro and Anemo or double Hydro. You can use Fischl with other Electro units for support, with either Shenchu, Yelan, Kokomi, or even Mona for her taunt and Omen debuff. As for off-field DPS Fischl, I personally run her with almost any hyper carry teams like Xiao, Bennett, Kazuha, and Fischl. Ayato Electro Charge team with Yaemiko or Beidou or Fischl as Electro appliers. So Raiden hyper carry, and there's just a lot more. So for our F2P GOATs or for newer players, pre-AR45, Fischl honestly is a great hyper carry on her own. You can pair her with almost any other 4-star without much issues, and you can clear your domains easily. And with that, I hope I was able to give you GOATs a good idea on how to best utilize Fischl. If you've benched her, if you want to max her friendship level now that her new outfit is released, give her a shot. So yeah, what do you think of her new outfit, by the way? And what about her story in the Summer Fantasia event? I personally liked it. It actually made me tear up at one point. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So aside from the fact that we were able to pull a skin out of the story without it being forced just for the sake of having the skin, So, okay, I'm saying a lot. I gotta go, so yeah, thank you all GOATs for your time. Please like and share the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Please help me grow my channel and community. This has been Godric, and I'll see you on the next one.
お嬢様の仰せのままに。みんながそばにいてくれるわ。絆、炎の盾。いなれ。我が命の断罪の名において。ほらか。チャック。強烈な一撃ですね。やっ。気に気をつけろ。まるで影のよう。 全力攻撃。愚か。主湯の方へ。旗よ、ここにやる。炎の盾。姿を見せよ。永遠はなかったのですね。